Hello, everybody. Welcome to our show, My Story, Very Normal People. As usually, we have wonderful people in our show. And today, we have a wonderful lady. Her name is Ingrid. Can you please tell us who you are? And welcome, by the way.
Welcome!
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Ingrid Sthare. I am a very, very normal person. So normal that I didn't know we were recording today. And so I tried to quickly put a little bit of lipstick on and do what I could with what I've got. And I used to be an actress in Los Angeles, and I am famous for having worked with famous people. And I now am an owner of a relationship company, and I help educate people how to have better relationships.
Mm.
In between there, I did matchmaking for 11 years, and I ran an office here in Greenville, South Carolina, where I am from, and well, where I'm broadcasting from, if you will, or whatever. And
Mhm.
and so and that led me to starting to work in the relationship field.
Mhm. Okay.
Is that a good
Yeah, that's really good. Of course, you will tell us more on the way about yourself because you cannot tell everything just in 3 minutes, right?
Okay, I'm looking for a husband. I'm blonde hair, green eyes.
Okay.
I'm 5'6". I can
Okay.
stand up if you want me to.
That's a good one. So our channel will be crowded now, Just don't show your phone number because people started to call you.
Oh, really? Yeah, now
Yeah,
I'm going to
okay.
transfer. I'll put it for everyone. I want them to call me.
Okay, so okay, now let's start with the first question. Many people, I mean, I say that people are very lonely now. I mean, it is they are more lonely than they were because people were very close with one another. Now it's a little bit like everybody in his own, and it's like nobody, let's say, in one sense, fight to be with somebody else. Even they want to, it's like it's becoming like fading a little bit. So, how do you see it with your in your ankle?
I'm lonely. So, and I will tell you how I started my podcast, which is nowhere near the awesome numbers that you have. Like I was telling you before we started, I think I got in the podcast game a little
Hmm.
late, but I started it because it's called Relationships in Progress, and I started it because there was a tornado that came through my area, and
Hmm.
I was in the bathroom, terrified out of my mind, and I had two thoughts. One is I work too much, and the other one is I'm sick of being alone.
Hmm.
And so, for those of us who've been alone for a long time, at first, when the pandemic started, I went into like what I now know is it's a trauma response. I went into mode of I'm going to exercise and I'm going to clean eat and I'm going to this over kind of doing it mode.
Hmm.
And then as time has wound on, and it's different when we went from spring to then going through fall, and now it's Christmas in a couple of days,
Hmm.
and the loneliness factor. I mean, it comes and goes for me, but I've been alone for a long time. I've never been lonely, but I'm used to seeing people in real life. I'm
Hmm.
used to friends and gathering, family, and things like that. So it's exacerbated for sure loneliness for people.
Hmm.
And so if you didn't have the same response as I did initially, you had more of a response of feeling lonely in the beginning. You may actually feel less lonely now because you're getting a little bit more used to it. We're
Right.
all handling it as I'm
Hmm.
learning and talking with my own clients, my own friends, and dealing with my own real feelings. I think it's really important for those of us who are in this type of business, this type of work, to be honest with our people, our clients, and our
Hmm.
friends about what we're going through too, and so that it becomes more normalized. That the feelings that you're having, ranging from anxiety, is a big one. So
Hmm.
yes, there's loneliness out there, and these are all different things. So there's anxiety, there's loneliness, there's depression, and you might be swinging on a pendulum of various different things. I'd love to talk about some things that you can do. Maybe later on we can talk about some solutions once we
Yes, solution.
uncover
Yeah.
some of the problems and things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. We'll go back to that. Now, you said that you know about matching, right? So can you tell us a little bit about nowadays how this, let's say, this part of our lives go, or better to say, how does it express itself now? What is going on with matching, people matching with one another, because it's quite different as it has been before, let's say the traditional way. Okay, so how do you say that?
Okay, so I started in the matchmaking industry so long ago. I started in the matchmaking industry in Los Angeles. I worked at a call center,
Mhm.
and we would set up appointments for the matchmaker, when for the people to come in to be sold a package and then be matched. So I've been doing this since 1993.
Mhm.
Is when I took that first job actually, and things were so different. So there were two main bricks and mortar matchmaking companies, and they were different. One was a video dating company, and the other one matched based on compatibility, for example. And they were started when they were an answer to what was going on, where divorce rates were rising, and people didn't know how to meet people. They didn't want to meet them in gyms. They didn't want to meet them in bars. So this bricks and mortar matchmaking services came about. And you also had lots of boutique matchmakers throughout the world. I mean, we could go back to the very beginning and the origins of matchmaking and all of that. Matchmaker, make me a match. So it's been around. It's a very old profession, probably older than the oldest profession.
One
And
of the
so
oldest.
maybe as old as the oldest profession. I don't
Yeah.
know. So anyway, it's been around for a really long time. It's very valuable to have another person who isn't emotionally invested to be the person that's working to make that match happen. As we know, online dating kind of rippled through, and it affected the bricks and mortar matchmaking as well, because it just became a place where there's a database that's there, and you pick the person out, and so on and so forth. But there's still boutique matchmakers all over the place. I am one of those people. I do my matching based on a strengths assessment, a BIA strengths assessment. That's part of it. There's a couple of different components that I use when I'm doing matching,
Mhm.
but I like to look at matching in relationships as a way of let's look at strengths. I don't if I'm partnering up with you, for example,
Mhm.
Arthur, I want to make sure that you have strengths that I don't have. That's
Mhm.
what makes a partnership better.
Okay.
And I don't think that it necessarily, when you are in love with somebody and that chemistry is there, it's not, I don't want a carbon copy of myself. The fact that we
Right.
both like soccer doesn't make for a good relationship. But the fact that I might be an appreciator of beauty, for example,
Mhm.
and that you have a strong sense of justice can really help make the relationship a stronger, better relationship.
Mhm. Eh, Maybe they are right when they say the opposite attracts, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there used to be a saying too: opposites attract, but they don't necessarily stay together. And I think though that's because people don't know how to have relationships.
Right.
They don't know. Even from the beginning, we learn from our families tend
Mhm.
to be the case, and they didn't necessarily know how to have a relationship.
Yes.
People got married because they were supposed to procreate,
Yes.
and people got married because of religious reasons, and people got married because men wanted to have sex, and so you
Yes.
had to get married to have sex. And
Right.
so women wanted to have sex too, by the way.
Yeah.
And so we don't do that anymore. That's not how our foundations of our relationships are built. And
Yeah.
so people are together now because of love. And
Mhm.
so learning how to love is a huge part of what it is that I how I work with people. And I started my business, and I'm so grateful for the industry of matchmaking. I started my business because when I was doing matchmaking, when I started running the office here in Greenville, I started noticing that there were a lot of people that were coming in,
Mhm.
and they were trying to make this investment, but they were hoping what they were really going to be able to do is fix themselves. They were broken from the last relationship, and they were
Right.
really hoping that somebody else would fix them. And so, and that's not the way to go about this. So that's why I created my program for single people, so they could work on themselves. Let's fix you, and let's fix what's going on with you, and so that you don't walk into another relationship broken.
Without, yeah, exactly. Mm.
Yes, so that you don't walk into a relationship broken. You don't pick the wrong person because you're lonely. Loneliness isn't a reason to be with anyone. Trust me. And so I started that program over there. And then I also realized that a lot of couples, so then in the middle is the matching program that I offer. And then the other third program I offer is a 1+1=1 relationship where program. And what that is also born out of the matchmaking industry, and what I saw is that a lot of people were still in love with their exes. They just didn't know how to go about fixing that relationship. And so what they would do is they get a divorce, because that's the go-to. I can't tell you how many articles I've written and been in as of recent about divorces, about this pandemic in particular.
Oh, yes.
And divorce numbers increasing and things like that. And so, and we saw a similar situation after 9/11, where people said, I'm getting married or I'm getting divorced. You know, when events happen in life,
In lives, yeah.
events, it definitely is a pusher, you know, for one way or the other. But I noticed that people were still in love with their exes, and they just didn't have a proper channel in order to go about healing that, fixing that, working on that relationship. So they tried counseling maybe 3 times, 4 times. They'd go to counseling, and then this didn't work, and their
Yes.
emotions are still high. And then they say, let's get a divorce, and they get a divorce, and it was never
And they
resolved.
keep on with it, yeah. I think it's like after the first divorce, the second one is very easy. With the first one, maybe you try a little bit harder, but with the second one, it's like something is broken. You're not so strong anymore as in the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, see, so what it makes it easier. So there's this saying that if I had a product to sell you and it failed 50% of the time, would you buy it? Probably not.
Not right.
But the divorce rate's 50%. It's 48%.
Wow.
And then for the first divorce, for the first marriage, second marriage, 64%, 73% on the third marriage, and then they stopped counting. So you know the thing is that when you're looking at numbers like that, yeah. So the first one's a lot harder, right? And so it can tend to be something it's a little bit. Well, you can look at it a lot of different ways. I mean, I guess a couple of different ways. That it's easier to do it the second time, it's easier to get divorced, or that people are broken going into that second marriage anyway, and they never did the real healing that they needed to have, and they're bringing unresolved issues into the next
Into the same, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of different things that are happening there for sure. So.
But sometimes there are some people which are lucky in the second. There are still a few people which are lucky in the second one, because maybe the first one it was okay. They were a bleed. I don't know what they pushed them there, but in the second one they know what they want. They don't want what they had, and so it's a little bit more. Let's say, for the wise people, they always okay. They can make the difference. That is what.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great point. Thank you for saying that, because so those are kind of older statistics, and so the new statistics are coming out all the time. And so we're watching. I'm Generation X. I think you're Generation X too, aren't you?
Yeah, 76, I think, something like that. 1976.
Okay.
Yeah, 40.
So yes, and so I'm Generation X, and what that means is that second marriages for Generation X, they call the first marriage, or when I say they, the general consensus of sociology, or they call the first marriage like a trial marriage.
Right.
And the second, so oftentimes it was when you were in your 20s, you tried to do what your parents did, Generation X folks like
Yeah.
me. I did not do this. I went out to Los Angeles, and and played in a band. So I didn't really play in a band.
Okay.
But I went out to Los Angeles and I did acting, and I didn't do a conventional life. But a lot of people did. So they graduated college, they got a job, and they're like, we need to get married. They're in their late 20s, and they feel like they're missing the boat, and they generally did not have children. So they then go on to the next marriage in their 30s, and they have children, and they stayed in that marriage.
Mhm. So that's now usually in what you have seen. Let's say, so I'll go a little bit deeper. I'll make it. Let's say the difference. Which normally the husband or the wife is wrong. You know what I mean? It's like in your, let's say, according to your statistic, what you have in your hands, okay? Not the rest. So you, what have you seen? So now you have to be honest, huh? Don't forget that.
Always the man's fault.
Okay, I have to drink some wine then. Okay. now, now, okay. Let's say it again. It's the man's fault. Okay.
Always the man's
Yeah, because they don't know how to lead, right?
no, it's not. It's nobody's fault, and it's everyone's fault. And so the thing is that I don't. When I do the work that I'm doing with education and relationships, I don't want it to be a you're at fault thing. That's the reason people steer away from things like counseling. I'm not a counselor. I'm a relationship coach. I'm here to teach you education about how to have a better relationship.
Right.
And we start with these operating systems, and you learn your operating system from your family of origin, like I was saying before. So that family of origin, they probably didn't necessarily even learn how to have a relationship.
Exactly.
You know, you go to right. So you go to school for many years to learn how to become a mechanic. But you know, something that you're going to be living in day to day throughout your life, your relationship with yourself, of course, as well as your relationship with your significant other. We're never taught how to do that. And so my program answers the call for that, for sure. But since you asked, interestingly enough, gray divorce is actually increasing. So that's people over the age of 50. Gray divorce is increasing. And most of the time, the woman is the one who instigates the divorce in those circumstances. And so, and we're seeing lots of shifting roles. And I think that one of the reasons why that's happening is because for oftentimes women and men, they continued on with their respective kind of stereotypical roles. So the man may have been the breadwinner and the woman who stayed at home, and now the man, you know, maybe he's getting tired, and so over the age of 50, he's getting tired, and he doesn't, you know, he wants to just chill and relax. But the kids are out of the house, they're grown and gone, and now you see a woman resurrect a career after 50 years of age, and it's something that can be a cause. It can be a cause factor in relationships and great divorce.
By the way, let's stay a little bit on this one. Uh, what are the biggest problems that the couples are having? Let's say nowadays. So is that economic? Is that it's feeling? Is what what is, what do you see in this?
The biggest problem that people are having nowadays, I don't have it to use as a prompt because it's being plugged in. Any guesses? Any guesses, studio audience? If you guessed phone, you are correct. Your cell phone is having a massive impact on your relationships. Every single person listening to this. I had at one particular point a stack of files. I keep all of my clients' information in files. Nothing goes on the computer. I just got something from the AFTRA. I haven't done entertainment business stuff for such a long time, and I just got something that it was hacked into. So I have to go and look at my reports and things. But I don't have any money there anyway. So anyway, your phones are causing issues with your relationships. From the person on Facebook that you are messaging, who while you're married, to to somebody else, to looking at pornography, to
Hmm.
texting some old friend who happens to be somebody who you isn't a love interest of yours, or you would like to be a love interest of yours. There's so many across the board things that I see with these phones, and it's a huge part of what's going on. I can't address very specific cases, but I can tell you that it runs the gamut, or just to being obsessed with your phone. I mean, let's not say that you're even bringing in another partner or
Hmm.
person or thought or idea. Let's just say you're just upset. You're on your phone
For
all the time. And you're ignoring the other person in the room.
yes, that's right. Yeah, that's correct. And I find myself I'm guilty on that. It's like usually when we work online and all the things, and sometimes the phone is also let's say something that we use for work as well. But still, yeah, we are there, and so yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Do you do that too then?
Now, yes, I have all my time, so I can do anything I want. Okay, I have nobody to, so
Well, that's
nobody to check on me. Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is, even for so I'm guilty of it. So even for myself, because I'm single, so we go back to this loneliness stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I have my phone over here. I'm on my couch in my living room, and then I'm talking to you on the iPad. But a lot of times I'll have my iPad, and it'll just be I'll play solitary on the iPad or solitaire on the iPad, and solitary. I feel like I'm in solitary confinement. I really do. I work out of my house. I work out of my house. I do not see clients on any kind of regular basis.
Mhm.
So this is a beautiful use of technology. I'm able to connect to you all the way over in Greece, and we're able to have this conversation, and it's fantastic. This is lovely.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
this is a great use of technology. What I try to encourage is let's meet in the middle. Let's find some middle ground. Technology can be great, but not if we're not in the hands of us who don't know how to stop. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then, like I was continuing on, I'll have the TV on, which is right in front of me. So I'll have the TV going. I'll be playing solitaire. I have three screens open
At the same time.
time, trying to keep myself occupied. So I understand, but even for us single people, I'm very mindful of when I have people in real life that my phone is muted, it's off, it's any of that for sure. I I look forward to being in a relationship because I'll probably throw out my television.
Mhm.
I've watched so much TV over there. I mean, and because I think I got burned out from reading so much
Mhm.
after studying and becoming a coach. I
Mhm.
read so much that just got burned out with it. So I've watched TV, just crazy
To
junk
relax a little bit,
television.
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean, yeah, yeah.
And it's too early for me for wine, so I'm doing kombucha, so I can't join you in that. But um, it's you said you were drinking rosé.
Yes, yes, yes. It's right here. Yeah. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers,
We say in Greek, we say yamas.
yamas.
Exactly. Okay.
Yamas means cheers.
It means for us, to us, something like that. Yeah. Everybody says that yamas.
Yamas.
Yeah, yamas.
Yamas. Okay.
By the way, let's talk about relationship now. I mean, sorry, friendship. Uh, the relationship that friends have with one another. Because still, we speak about couples, but still, I think people have problems in, let's say, in the marriage, usually when they have problems in the relationship. They don't know their position, where they are. They don't know themselves, and sometimes they are, they feel. And when they get married, they feel the same and say, "No, not anymore." It's like they revolt a little bit. So, how do you see that?
Good question.
Yeah.
I what is happening in relationships romantically is that we are looking for the other person to solve all of our problems. We put
Right.
all of our eggs in that basket, and so we're excluding friends to some degree. Which friends and having a network of friends for men and for women is really super important across the board. Um, I learned a lot about relationships because I call it shuffling my deck that I am a people pleaser person. And so I have had to learn how to have very strong boundaries with people.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, and because I just want to make people happy. And sometimes it's at the expense of myself, for those of you people pleasers out there. So those of us who do that, we really need to be careful and have strong boundaries, because we can get walked over in relationships. And I have before in the past, and I won't anymore. I have very strong boundaries with people, clients, as well as, but that's just because I'm a very empathetic and compassionate person. But the first person I want to be empathetic and compassionate to is myself. And so that I can help people the best that I possibly can. So, relationships feel that they're disposable. I saw some meme that it said, would somebody who you've had a 10-year relationship with, who's somebody you, and I thought 10 years, that's nothing. I mean, at 49, I've had many, many relationships that are well over 10 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, sometimes you need to shut up. So I was talking, like, reshuffling your deck. Some people who you have close to you aren't necessarily, keep your friends close and your enemies closer kind of thing. They're not necessarily cheering you on, and they're rooting for you, and good things for you. And so, I think it's very important that you choose friends wisely,
Mm-hmm.
and that you check in to make sure that those people are still your friends. When your friends are super, I was just saying this to somebody who I'm potentially going out with. We were just talking about, and we were talking about friends actually, and I had mentioned that friendships are really important to me because I get guidance from my friends, and why would I take guidance from somebody who cheats on their husband, somebody who can't respect my boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
Et cetera, et cetera. I'm not interested. Why would I get your? I don't like what you're doing, so why would I trust you with my
Mm-hmm.
story so that you can give me advice and be part of my circle, part of my friendship circle? Does that make sense, or did I go way off?
Yeah.
It feels like I did.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's really good, when you make that. Yeah, yeah, it was very clear. Yeah. So, as long as we are social, let's say animals, so we can talk about relationship in any level with days. So maybe we have to cut a little bit, but we haven't finished yet. Well, we haven't finished yet. Sorry.
Can I say something?
Of course, of course. Now that is what I'm saying. So if you want to add something that you really want to share with our audience, please say.
I think that one of the things that I use in my practice a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that is really, really helpful for those of you listening, if you don't know who Brene Brown is, please Google her, Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
In the book that she wrote called Rising Strong, she has an acronym, BRAVING. And
Okay.
BRAVING is the anatomy of trust. Boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity. And you can find a video for free of hers where she talks about these various different things. I think it's on an Oprah special or something that she
Mm-hmm.
does, and it's about 22 minutes long. And just get yourself associated with that. It's really helped me, and it's helped me work with clients in terms of teaching. If you don't have trust in a relationship, then in any relationship, it's never going anywhere. It's just not going to go anywhere. So I started asking myself, am I that person when I'm dealing with people too? So are these people that I'm surrounding myself, do they match with the braving and acronym? And am I the braving and acronym for them too? Do I have integrity? Do I keep whatever their secrets are, vault? Do I am I accountable? When I'm wrong, do I say, I'm really sorry, I was really wrong about that? Or et cetera, et cetera. It's very helpful. So if you're struggling with that, who do I trust, and how do I decide if this is a good friend of mine? How do I know that this is a solid relationship, or how can I build my relationship to make it a better relationship? Check in with that braving, and I've given a couple of resources of where you can get that and access to it and for free.
Right. So, the last question now. This is more personal.
Sounds so yes.
Yeah, now you have to be. So, what is your motto in life? What is something that you have that drives you every day? Your personal, not what you say to the others. Forget the others, forget the clients now. It's you. What is something that wakes you up and you drives? Yeah.
Gosh, that's a good question. I think that one of the things that I learned, I just said this earlier today too. If I have to choose between you and me, I'm going to pick me every single time.
Very nice choice.
Yep. So don't make me choose between you and me. Be a part of the team, not a person poking holes in the boat. I learned that from my ex boyfriend's
Mm,
father. He said, when you're in a relationship, you want to make sure that that person is helping you grow and not
mhm,
poking holes in the boat. And I use that all the time, that analogy all the time when I'm working with clients.
mhm,
And I'm still friends with that boyfriend too, by the way.
mhm.
Just didn't work out.
Yeah, I see. Okay, thank you very much, Ingrid. It was a pleasure to have you in our show, and